What's a good word, everyone? It's your boy DKB here. I just want to say thanks for all the support. The channel's been steadily growing, and the number you see below, you can drop a text, shoot a voicemail, any ideas, topics, collabs, etc. you guys want to see. I'll include them in future videos and live streams, and I'll catch you again. Be easy. What's a good word, Jets fans? It's your boy DKB here. And the New York Jets feel like under this new regime, we're going to see a change in strategy, a shift in perspective as it relates to how to build this roster, how to approach our ability to acquire talent. And I think with some of the recent rumors and news that you're seeing come out, you're starting to get an idea of what that's going to look like, which is really targeting and building up the depth of this team. We want to be able to go out there and not only have elite starters, but when injuries inevitably hit, we want to be able to go out there and outlast guys and not have to worry about there being, a significant drop off from one starter to the backup, or even in between backups if you start to see significant injuries pile up at certain positions. And while you can't always get around that, Aaron Glenn would know this more so than many others, where he was just decimated across his entire defense and really on the offensive side of the ball as well. How critical this is going to be. The New York Jets had a ton of answers to our 28 or so free agents in-house that we needed to deal with. And FYI, by the way, I'll be dropping a birthday/free agency stream on Monday. So we'll dive into all the news and the rumors and hopefully some New York Jets signings on day one. But we have at least some significant news as it relates to a couple of our agents, right? And none of these names are going to be spectacular to a certain degree or ones that people feel like are going to, push us to a certain level. But we know that there's interest, at least according to the rumors, that Aaron Glenn would love to have Jamie and Sherwood back in the building, and we'll see if we'll be able to pull that off. But we also had the recent rumors we talked about cornerback Brandon Echols, our CB4, and the rumored interest in having him return to the team as well. Maybe it's for an elevated position. Maybe it's just at a bit of a pay bump for him to play the same kind of role as really that spot starter within our defense here that can play multiple roles for us, whether it's boundary or slot. But now we have the news today. We've officially hit Xavier Newman, our guard, and wide receiver Irvin Charles, both exclusive rights free agents with a tender. And what that basically means for us is that they're getting offered a one-year contract. I believe that means they'll go into the following year as a restricted free agent if they aren't extended in season. But the New York Jets get the advantage of having the first right of refusal, which means that if another team decides that they want to offer them a bigger contract, whatever the case is, the New York Jets can decide to match that or walk away. And I think there's a couple different, tenders that can happen here, right? Depending on what exactly they hit them with. I don't know if this applies to everything as a blanket statement, but the New York Jets could also potentially get draft pick compensation, right? And I don't think that'll be the case in either of these guys' situations. But when you look at talking about that strategy change, this looks significant on paper, right? Irvin Charles has developed into a core special teamer for us that looks like he could be amongst the best in the NFL, which is really saying something. And I know many people don't necessarily care about phase 3 of the football as long as it doesn't come to giving up touchdowns. Whether we're scoring in and of itself doesn't seem to matter so much, but he's turned into an elite gunner, consistently ranks up there with being able to make those open field tackles. And in a lot of cases, he's shutting things down before the returners even really get an opportunity to go out there and make something happen. You talk about his ability to go out there and block punts / field goals as well. So he's really that do-it-all contributor on the special team side of the ball. And for us moving on from a James Harden and be able to kind of have Irvin Charles fall into our lap, earning the nickname Wolf of Wall Street, I believe it was, under Robert Saleh and company. This is significant. Chris Banjo obviously loves this guy based on us wanting to get another look at him, especially since he's coming off that torn ACL in December. So we get another look at a guy that if he bounces back, phenomenal. If we end up giving him some additional looks on the offensive side of the ball as well, this could be competition for a Tim Patrick to compete with, right? Or a Josh Palmer, for example, from the Chargers that we also discussed. In Xavier Newman's case, that was really one of our first taste of understanding how important depth on the offensive line is. Not to say that we weren't aware of that, but that maybe we put that a little bit more so on the back burner in lieu of other things. Xavier Newman's been able to step in as a spot starter for us, and he's been able to accomplish plenty good. Some guys thought that maybe he should get some extended looks based on how he's played. I don't really think he's a starter in the league, but he is a guy that if you need somebody to fill in for 1, 2, maybe 3 games, he's going to be comfortable enough not only working with a lot of these guys that are returning back to the organization, but he might be able to stand out for a game or two for you as well. So you're not talking about getting the bare minimum from a guy like Newman. He can definitely rise above the occasion, but over a longer period of time, you're just going to look at him as a guy that won't turn, a potential area of strength, or even if we were just average across the board at the guard position, he's not going to necessarily turn that into an immediate weakness. And I think this is going to be important. You talk about locking in the cornerback four if we do bring back Eccles, locking in your Mike linebacker if you return Jamie and Sherwood, locking in probably your wide receiver 5 or 6 if it's Irvin Charles. And then with Xavier Newman, you're talking about potentially locking in your swing guard, your spot starter here. So it's a plan that's already coming into place. Again, not anything that I think anybody's going to be jumping for joy about, but this is how the quality teams get things done in the NFL. They look to make sure that they can outlast opponents if they just don't have these ridiculous areas of strength across the board. And this definitely looks like a page out of the notebooks of teams like the Chiefs, like the Eagles, like the Ravens that, perennially really get a chance to squeeze the most out of they can from the trenches and special teams units, where other teams look to, maybe just take pure advantage of starters on the offense or defensive side of the ball. So let me know what you guys think. Again, I'm all for it. None of these guys are going to break the bank for us. It's not going to exclude us from being able to go out there and target 2 or 3 receivers still, or look for a guard in the draft if we feel like we still need to look at upgrading that position. And these should be guys that are, in Irvin Charles' case, assuming he can return back to that same level of form, or at least something close to it, you're talking about having a guy that's going to be one of the best at that position of being a wide receiver 5 or 6. And in Xavier Newman's case, I think you would consider him maybe one of the better swing guards that would be available to the New York Jets. So let me know what you guys think. Maybe some potential draft picks if something crazy happens with somebody that has interest. But let me know, and I'll catch you guys again. Peace.